Welcome to Sex Court. Who's guilty?
We have nothing. we don't have anything today.
Guys, the strike's been rough on us around here.
I don't know why. I got to tell you this. So we were talking earlier before the show started. And I said to the guys, hey, listen, if the actor strike continues going for a long period of time, like news could get pretty short. And Ray was like, I got you covered. Playboy TV just announced Sex Court.
Everyone knows I love like Judge Judy, People's Court, whatever.
This is Jugs Judy.
And I saw this story and I was like, I need to get this network so I can watch this thing. No, I'm being serious. I'm totally interested in seeing this thing, but you have to get a full
$6 for unlimited, Ray? That we said
$199 lifetime subscription for Playboy TV.
Guilty.
Just to watch Sex Court.
Guilty as charged, Your Honor.
Hey, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Hey,
I'm interested in watching this thing.
When
I
news
love
gets
court
thin,
shows.
when news gets thin, we gotta find
What's the punishment? Like spankings or something?
the entertainment news.
No. From what I read, it's real court cases, but it has to. Everything has to do. The judge is the actual real judge.
Yeah.
And everything has to do with sex, though.
So, like, if you're found guilty,
oh, well, I don't.
he's got to touch his penis. I
They're
mean, I
like,
don't know.
well, we're gonna put that tattoo on his lower back and then put him in jail.
Put him in jail.
Put him in jail.
Put him in jail. All right.
Well, anyways.
But this is open mic. Surprisingly enough, sorry
Very
to disappoint you for those of you tuned in for Sex Court. This is open mic, where we take your questions. The mic is open. The floor is yours. What do you guys want to talk about? The topics and discussions and questions come from you. So if you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address, as long as it's not about Sex Court, there's two ways you can get a topic or question to us. Ray's like making this face up.
Do it. Someone do it. Tell me if it's actually any good. I'll get it.
There's two ways to get your topic or question on. First way is if you're watching the show in any of the other 23 hours a day that you're not watching Sex Court, go ahead and send it into our tip link at streamelements.com/John Campea/tip. If you are watching live right now, and hello to everybody who's in the live chat already, go ahead and use the super chat feature and send in a live chat. And if your topic or question is appropriate to be on our show, I don't know why I can say that after opening with Sex Court, but if your topic or question is appropriate to be addressed on our show, we will address it here on the show. So we're not going to waste any time today. Let's just dive right into it. Jonathan, what do we got here?
Wait.
Oh, no, what?
7 out of 10 IMDb, Sex Court. Come on. It's been out since 1998, so.
I've never even heard of it. 98?
Yeah.
So it's in its 25th season?
I guess that judge must be
I thought
super wrinkly.
I thought Supernatural was good with 15.
Oh, wait,
wow.
I looked up the wrong thing.
If it's 25?
Oh, no. Yeah, it's been out since 98.
Wow, 25 seasons.
Man,
all
I missed
right.
the boat then.
What do we got up here? What's first?
Well, Amin is first. Of all of Nolan's films, other than the Batman films, which one do you think has the strongest possibility of a sequel based on the story and where it ended? Do you think Nolan would ever make a sequel to one of his films? How about another director?
Boy, one that would have, like, other than Batman, I mean, Tenet, no. Inception, maybe?
That's the one I went with, was Inception.
Inception's one you could, like, after the spinning top and everything at the end. There could
or
be
even a new story.
Yeah,
whatever.
Interstellar, I mean, no.
No.
The Prestige, no. Memento, no. I mean, Insomnia, in a way, you could just carry on with one of the characters. You could, I suppose. But yeah, probably Inception is the one that people would be most receptive to, I guess. All right, what's next?
All right, we've got Amin, who writes, loved Mission Impossible, joint favorite film of the year for me with Spider-Verse. The train scene was fantastic, but the car chase scene I think was better. One of the best for sure. I also think I'm in love with Haley Atwell now. LOL, stole every scene.
I don't know if she was a scene stealer, but she was very, very good. I think a lot of people fell in love with Haley Atwell and Agent Carter. That was, you know what? That was an underappreciated show, Agent Carter. I thought she was actually quite good in that. Yeah, you know what's fun is that at CinemaCon back in April, we've told you guys they showed us like a 15-minute scene. They showed us that whole scene in Mission Impossible where she first gets brought into the room in the jail to meet her lawyer, and it's Tom Cruise, all the way to the end of the car action sequence. Like, they showed us that entire thing, and that's why we were so hyped about it coming out, because that car chase scene is pretty damn fantastic. I mean, that whole thing, but the whole movie is great. Like, I don't think it's as good as Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, but I have it as my number 2 favorite movie of the year, just behind Spider-Verse. Like, I think it's that good, and I hope more people go out to see it. All right, what's next?
Brock Zentino, one of 2, writes, okay, just got out of an early access screening of Oppenheimer here at the AMC in Jacksonville, Florida, and I have to say, OMG, this movie's so amazing. This isn't just the best Nolan movie, but my favorite movie I've ever watched entirely.
Wow.
Part 2, I literally have never shaken coming out of a movie before, but this was it by the level of horror in the world today that it presents. Popcorn fell out of my chair twice.
It's funny. I don't know that the marketing has been doing the film justice. And quite frankly, I don't know how you market a film about the horrors of somebody building an atomic bomb. But the people I've heard who have seen it are like saying it's one of their, I mean, I haven't heard anybody say it's their favorite film of all time, but I've heard a lot of people say it's one of their favorite films of the year, and a couple say it is their favorite movie of the year. Now, I'm not going to see it until Thursday night, so 2 days from now. I'm going to go see Barbie tomorrow, see Oppenheimer on Thursday. I am just dying to see it. Christopher Nolan himself, talking about CinemaCon, Christopher Nolan came out on stage at CinemaCon to give us this spiel on the movie, and just been dying to watch it. I think everything feels like it's just steeped in tension, and like this type of stuff, these types of stories, I just eat them up, and I cannot wait to watch it. All right, what's next?
Kai in the chats can't wait for Barbie. He told everybody he can't wait for Barbie.
Can't wait for Barbie. I'm excited. Listen, I'm excited for Barbie. I never thought I would have said that until after CinemaCon.
Kai is too. Just Jay Newbie. Hey guys, there are 2 types of people in this world. Which do you prefer, dubs or subs? I feel like reading at the bottom of the screen is distracting, so I prefer dubs. Thanks. I like to hear the original often, but maybe on rewatches I just go to dubs because it is easier. I mean, I don't mind subtitles, but you can just pop it on and listen.
I think I prefer subtitles. And the reason I personally prefer subtitles is because even while I'm reading what they're saying, I'm still hearing the actors' natural inflections, the natural expressions, the natural way they're saying the words. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of the performance is in that. In a dub, you lose a lot of that. So because of that, because I think how an actor says a line is as important as what they say. And with a subtitle, you get what they say, and you're hearing the voice the way they say it. So for me personally, I prefer subtitles to dubs. But unless I'm watching an old Kung Fu movie, then it's got to be dubbed. 100% it's got to be dubbed. 100%.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
All right. Stephen Otea writes, bro, just saw early screening of Oppenheimer last night, and dude, this movie was amazing. This movie kind of had the horror vibe to it that Nolan was talking about. 11 out of 10.
Yes, but it goes to 11. I don't know how many people get that reference.
Why don't you just make 10 louder? But this goes to 11.
Because it goes to 11. Again, everything we've been hearing about Oppenheimer, and listen, we haven't said this a lot, but it's true. I think Christopher Nolan, he didn't need this next movie to be a masterpiece, but he needed this next movie of his to be really good. Because I think Tenet, which I don't think is a bad movie, but I think Tenet was the first time for a lot of people that were like, are we overestimating Christopher Nolan? Which is ridiculous. Like, even if Tenet was terrible, that would have been one movie out of his entire filmography. But I think it was important following up on Tenet that he come out strong. He came out with a strong movie. And it sounds like he has done that in spades. And I'm telling you guys, I can't wait to sit down in front of this movie and watch it. What is the runtime on it, right? I keep hearing people say around 3 hours. I think I remember something like that. But if you can look up the specific runtime, I'd like to hear it. All right. What's next?
All right. Clifford Stringman writes, hey, John, do you have any foreign movie recommendations?
My favorite foreign film of all time is also my number one all-time favorite cop film. It's called Infernal Affairs.
It's 3 hours.
Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
It's 3 hours.
Yeah, Infernal Affairs is excellent.
Infernal Affairs is crazy good. Now, you probably have seen a version of it because Martin Scorsese remade it in English, and he called it The Departed. And it won Martin Scorsese his one and only directing Academy Award. It also won Best Picture of the Academy Awards. Mark Wahlberg got an Academy Award nomination for it. Leonardo DiCaprio, Matt Damon, Alec Baldwin. The movie's fantastic, but the original is even better. Infernal Affairs is my all-time. And then one that a lot of people recommend, but I'll join the train for it because it's spectacular. It's one of the first 10 out of 10s I ever gave a movie in my life. Amelie. Amelie is one of those must-watch movies. I think if you're a big film fan and you haven't seen Amelie, you're robbing yourself. If you get a chance, check out Amelie. All right, what's next?
All right. Chip Crisper. All right. Hey, crew. I was browsing AMC's early screenings and to check for Barbie. Yeah, it's going to dominate this weekend. Both screenings wiped out, even the handicapped seats. Barbie will make all the money. Not sure if you heard that right. I said all the money.
That's some of the money. All the money.
money.
We're going to talk about this tomorrow on the show, but there's an article in Variety that there are some industry people that are saying that Barbie is going to make upwards of 140 million opening weekend. Now, most analysts are saying around $100 million mark, which again, think about that. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning just opened to 56 million. Even if you count the full 5 day long weekend, made 80. They're saying that Barbie's going to beat it. If you had told me that 6 months ago, that, oh yeah, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning is coming out and Barbie's coming out and Barbie's going to make more opening weekend than Mission Impossible, I would have thought you were crazy. But some analysts are even saying as high as 140. Now, I think it will be closer to 195, 100, 105 in that window somewhere. But even if it's at the lower end of that, that is insane. And you're right. I took a quick peek for my local AMC at the Tyler Galleria in Riverside, California. Took a peek, and it was booked. It was just booked because we're seeing Barbie at a fan screening tomorrow night. But then the first official opening night is Thursday with Oppenheimer. Ann already got us our tickets for Oppenheimer. I decided just take a peek to see if we wanted to double header it up with Barbie. Screw you. It was completely booked. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what kind of numbers it pulls in.
Tomorrow you're doing Oppenheimer?
No, tomorrow is Barbie. Oppenheimer is Thursday.
Oh, okay.
So so I wanted to see if Thursday I could see Barbie again as a doubleheader, do the Barbenheimer thing or whatever it's called. Barbie. What is it called?
Barbieheimer.
Barbieheimer. See if we can do the full Barbieheimer experience on Thursday night, but it was all sold out. All right, what's next?
All right. Amin writes, let me clear that blue out of there. The creator has a budget of only 86 million. That's crazy. Hollywood needs to look at it as an example of how to properly budget a film. The production design is beautiful. Personally, I don't think any film should exceed 200 million. You can do a lot with that amount.
The first thing we should point out, though, is we haven't seen the creator.
Yeah.
Okay, we saw a 2-minute trailer. Okay. And visually, it's stunning. It looks great, but maybe that was literally all the visual effects in the movie. I doubt it. But I mean, we just don't know how much is in. But if you really want to look at the Poster Child movie, for a movie that lays out, look, Hollywood, you can make some visually heavy visual effects movies with great visual effects and not break the bank. You don't have to go much further than the Peter Jackson produced, Neil Blomkamp directed District 9. I think the production budget on that movie was something like $60 million. So something in that neighborhood. And is anybody going to say that the visual effects in that movie didn't look great? They look great. They look fantastic. I would argue they hold up today. Seriously, I think if that movie came out today, as is, nobody would blink at the visual effects. Nobody would go, oh, wow, that looks really dated. No, I think it looks great. It can be done. And part of the things they got to stop doing is they got to stop paying lead actors like $20 million. I mean, that'll help them go a long way. But anyway, I'm on 100% agreement. I've been saying this for years that movie studios need to start reining in how much they spend on making movies. And whenever I bring it up, inevitably somebody says, well, John, why do you care? It's not your money. Yes, it is. It is my money, and it's your money too. Because when the studios spend more and more money on making the movies, they demand a bigger and bigger return on the box office ticket price. Therefore, movie theaters are forced to raise the price of tickets. So yeah, you are paying for it. So am I. They got to get this under control because it is literally a systemic problem. And I hope they get that reined in. Look, I'll give a little bit of a pass to the movies like Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 that had extra expenses piled on top of it because of the delays, the starts and stops, and the extra safety precautions because they were shooting during the pandemic. Yeah. But other than that, yeah, movies got to get a handle on their spending. All right. What's next?
All right. Boomstick Beth. Sounds like a psychobilly band. So excited that my hometown Nashville is getting an early screening of Talk to Me. Going tomorrow night, my second most anticipated movie of the year after Evil Dead, Obvi. It's supposed to be awesome. Currently 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. You going to see it? Let's go.
We were just talking about Talk to Me. Which one is that again?
Yeah, that A24 just picked it up. It's a horror film.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That has some influencers in it or something like that.
I don't know they're influencers. They have a YouTube channel. And yeah.
Yeah, I don't know much about it, to be honest with you. So I can't say I'd be excited for it or not. I got nothing bad or good to say. I don't really know anything about it. But listen, these little indie movies that could things are fascinating. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on it. All right, what's next?
Garrett Hockler writes, Oppenheimer last night was amazing. It's an experience that I will never forget and made me fear for the world around me. Not my favorite Nolan movie, but still absolutely amazing. Best of the year so far for me.
It's really exciting hearing all... Look, it's a really satisfying feeling because we live in a movie environment where all of us are very accustomed to being excited for a movie and then being let down by it. It happens a lot. But there is a sweet, sweet feeling. A sweet feeling, Ray, that comes along with having a movie you're excited about, going to watch it, and walking out satisfied. That's a good feeling. Like a feeling I hope you get when Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comes out. I mean, you won't because the movie's going to suck, but I'm hoping for you, for your sake, that you come out with a big smile on your face and not wanting to wreck all those good-looking toys on your mic stand.
You know what? I stopped listening to you as soon as you started talking.
By the way, I don't think the movie will suck. I think it looks cute, so we'll see. All right, what's next?
Luke1234 writes, do you think this year's soft box office is the threat of a looming recession? First things usually go as luxury and entertainment, and theaters are both of these. Why pay 15? Just clicked off. Why pay 15 per ticket when in 45 days it'll be streaming with 100 other movies and shows?
I don't honestly really think so. I mean, I remember remember during the big housing crisis, right? I remember back then, and the box office listen, there was a financial crisis like no other. Mm-hmm. I mean, you had a presidential campaign going on, and both candidates agreed we got to stop our campaigning right now, and we got to get into Washington. We got to do everything we can do to help out to, make everything run again. I mean, it was bad. I mean, the stock markets were crashing, all that kind of stuff. But the movie box office didn't get hurt. Here's the thing. I am, now granted, I'm a rarity. I don't drink. I mean, once a month, I'll maybe have a hard apple cider. Ooh, I'm so edgy. But I basically don't drink. Not for any moral reasons. Like I'm not straight edge or anything. I just don't like the taste of alcohol. But as somebody who doesn't drink, particularly really weird as a Canadian that I don't drink beer, and very weird as an Italian that I don't drink wine. But I often am flabbergasted at the amount of money my average drinking friends, not even heavy drinking friends. Well, you know who I'm talking about, Ray. But I mean, even our average drinking friends, I'm amazed at how much money they will spend on alcohol. Whether, we go out to a Chipotle or not Chipotle, I meant Chili's. Yeah, it's like, John, when did they start serving alcohol at Chipotle? Never mind. Whether we go out to BJ's or whatever, or if we go to a club in Vegas and they're paying $23 for a drink. It's like, you know what? Like a movie ticket for 2.5 hours of entertainment is $12, $15.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
historically, movie theaters have thrived even during the Great Depression.
yeah.
People go to the movies no matter what. I mean, you don't have to buy concessions there. You can just go get a ticket.
Yeah, just go get a ticket, go see the movie. You know, Chris Rock made a really interesting comment while the pandemic was going on, right? And this is back when everybody thought streaming was just going to rule everything, and look how that turned out. But Chris Rock made a really interesting comment that I thought was really insightful when he said, look, the thing about the movies and the movie theater is it is the most economical night out. Like, you can't even go bowling and spend less money than you can on a night out at the movies. Yeah, now, if you want to go bowling and drink 6 drinks and order a burger and all that kind of stuff, and it's true with the movies. You want to go to the movie, fine. You want to order, some nachos and a hot dog and popcorn and sodas. Yeah, you could run up the total up. But, Chris Rock was saying the movies is always going to be the most economical, nice night out. And if you're dating, it's the most economical date night movie and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know that's been a part of it. And by the way, the numbers overall are actually pretty good. It's just that, I don't know, for some reason coming out of the pandemic, we had this vision of 2018 that every movie that came out was making hundreds of millions of dollars, and they weren't.
Yeah.
So that's just one thing we got to keep in mind. And we also got to keep in mind that this year there have been some big financial success movies. But, there's going to be some that hit big. There's going to be some that lose big. All right, what's next?
Sailor Girl writes, I was thinking back to WandaVision and Twitter and your show, everyone going nuts with different theories. Do you think we will ever get another show like it? I remember your inbox was just full of questions about the program. Do you miss those days?
I'm telling you what, I don't think the bad thing about going to Vegas is winning money the first time you go. Because then you just think, going to Vegas to win money is easy. And then people lose all their money.
Next thing you know, you're in sex court.
Come to order.
Your money on, buddy.
So what are you losing your money on? So one of the worst things that I think happened to us with Disney Plus and Marvel coming to Disney Plus was that their first show was WandaVision, because we got spoiled the fuck out with that. But you're right. That WandaVision show, it was just constructed and written in such a way that at the end of every episode, we were all buzzing with thoughts and possibilities and theories and all that kind of stuff. And they've never really had a show since that has been able to duplicate that. You know what I mean? And yeah, I do miss that. I really do. Somebody wrote to me yesterday and say, John, how come, Secret Invasion is out on Disney Plus now? How come you're not talking about it? Why didn't you talk about Secret Invasion? All that kind of stuff. And I said, well, the thing is, I'm liking Secret Invasion. I'm enjoying it. And I am. Actually, I'm going to stay up to midnight tonight and watch the new episode tonight. But it's not really a show that there's a lot to talk about once the episode is over. And not all shows need to be like WandaVision, but man, I'm telling you what, you're absolutely right. That WandaVision, man, it just kind of spoiled us real quick. And that's why the ratings went up and up and up and up and up every single week. But we haven't really had another show like that since. And I'm not quite sure what the next one that Marvel can put out that will be like that. But keep our fingers crossed. All right, what's next?
Garden Variety Vagabond writes, one of two, John, concerning Mission Impossible, is there any metric trends on the effects of having opening weekends on a long weekend? Many want to watch on the opening night, and it seems to impact negatively on the standard metrics used. As an analyst, I'm curious if it tends to show a lower than average second week drop. I could not figure out how to create a list of long weekend openings to run the analysis. There would obviously be a wide variance, so would require a large sample size.
It's a very difficult thing because when you get some movies, like the two this year that I can think of that opened and had 5-day opening weekends was Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 and The Little Mermaid. Now, there might have been a third, but those are the two I know off the top of my head, right? And it's difficult to then analyze how they perform on opening weekend because they came out earlier than other movies do, and therefore already had a couple of days that some people could go see it during the week before the weekend hit. So, the answer is not to say, take the entire 5-day weekend and then compare that to all the other movies' 3-day weekend. That's a terrible thing to do. Now you're comparing apples to spaceships. That's a completely thing you can't do. But it does mean that it makes it very awkward to then really compare. So, for example, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, officially a $56 million opening weekend. But it's opening 5 days, because remember, it opened well before Thursday. Its opening 5 days was actually 80 million, but you can't say 80 million because you can't compare that to the other things. Same with Little Mermaid. Little Mermaid, officially its opening weekend was $95 million, but really its 5 day was 126. You can't say 126. So it does and forever will make applying any kind of an analytical formula to movies that have opening 5 day weekends very difficult. The only things you can really compare them to is if, say, a movie has a 5 day opening weekend on a Memorial Day weekend, comparing it to previous years opening Memorial Day weekend long weekends, right? That's the only real comparison you can make, I think. All right, what's next?
Cody Hunt Film writes, happy 15th anniversary to The Dark Knight. I remember it like it was yesterday. Every theater at my multiplex was playing the film at midnight. Biggest turnout I've ever seen for a film. Lines were wrapped around the building to purchase tickets.
Wait, when did The Dark Knight debut?
08.
Is it actually, it's not today, is it? Because I figure everywhere would be writing tribute articles about The Dark Knight if it was actually the 15th anniversary. Like,
I'll look it up.
Yeah. I mean, The Dark Knight was a busy weekend. Absolutely. I've seen bigger.
Oh, it's at the top there, isn't it? No.
And I've seen bigger and more busy weekends than The Dark Knight. But
No. But for its time, though, it was huge. I have opening July 6th. Well, that's Taiwan earliest. So, yeah, probably was today, July 18th.
No, really? They should say on Box Office Mojo. It's to say what the first...
earliest was July 16th in Taiwan.
It was July 18th. It was this opening weekend.
Yeah.
So today is the 15th anniversary? Yeah. Wow. How did we not know that?
Because people are on strike.
I mean, you're not wrong, actually. People are on strike.
Yeah.
And they just announced a new season of Sex Court. So people are kind of distracted.
Yeah, there's going to be a strike there, too.
Yeah, you know what? Tomorrow we should take a little time and talk about The Dark Knight, because The Dark Knight's not just a great movie. It's one of those, what's the word I'm looking for? Landmark kind of films, right? It's considered by many people to still be the greatest comic book film. I don't think it's the greatest comic book film of all time, but I think it's in the top 3. To some people, it's their favorite movie of all time, period. I mean, that's a real landmark kind of movie. Maybe we should talk about it a little bit tomorrow. All right. What's next?
All right. Garden Variety Vagabond with a 2-parter. I get so chafed by people who get upset about residuals. How do people not understand that it's about total pay plan? To me, it has nothing to do with them being actors versus any other job. That is like saying that a person who has a pay plan with commissions, just try to not pay me my commissions. Their pay without it is crap. They are paid in a structure that pays their value only if it does well. It is not special extra money. It is their pay plan, like a waitress's tips. To a degree, it's true, but
to a degree, it's true. I don't know that I don't think that's fully true, though. I don't think that really encapsulates the totality of it. Mm-hmm. First of all, I do believe a part of the answer is, look, residuals were born in an era when you could be on a TV show, and if it ran for 5 seasons, that was like 100 episodes. What that meant was that later on, the show could be sold into syndication. Now, this is under the old model, right? So other networks could buy the rights to those shows. Networks and local TV channels and stuff like that, like KTP in Kansas City or whatever, like local stations and everything could buy syndication rights to those shows, so that local network can run I Love Lucy, or that local network can run Family Ties or whatever. And whenever they sold the rights to those syndication rights, that would get sold and resold and resold and resold and resold. All that money that was getting generated from the rights being rebought and rebought and rebought in syndication, actors got a cut of that. That was the residuals. That's the birth of residuals. The problem that the studios are having, and that the studios and actors and writers are trying to wrap their heads around, is that nobody's figured out how the principle of residuals applies in the era of streaming, right? First of all, you stream it on Netflix, there's no commercials, and shows aren't getting syndicated anymore, right? There's no such thing as syndication.
Right.
And especially on Netflix, shows don't last 5 seasons. Maybe 1 out of every 50 shows that goes on Netflix can hit a season 5. And then they just stay on Netflix. They don't get resold and resold and resold and resold.
So like European markets or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Baywatch was syndication for years.
So now you have one side arguing that we still want to get paid the way it was when there was syndication. And you have the other side saying, well, we can't do it, but they haven't figured out how to apply a philosophy in place of the old model.
Right.
And everybody is still just trying to figure it out.
There's also the flip side of like, oh, well, conveniently you can't pay us residuals because now you're on streaming only and not network. So how convenient for you, producers?
Yeah,
so
I mean,
I get both sides.
That's the thing that really screwed the actors. Right? They suddenly, the emergence of streaming screwed the actors because they were under a system where you had shows based on their success and their longevity and going into syndication and it paid them residuals. You could be on one show and be set for the rest of your life. All of a sudden streaming came along and that's poof, gone. Now, the approach to residuals had to change. You know, Chris said a really interesting comment today. She goes, you can't apply old rules. Sorry, you can't apply old rules to new formulas. And she was absolutely right about that. You can't just take residuals and just say, well, just apply residuals like we used to, just slap it on streaming. It doesn't work that way. And so everybody's trying to figure it out and trying to figure out what's fair. For me, my only thought right now is that we are still probably years away from everybody figuring out how some form of residual can exist with streaming. I kind of feel like until that time, make an agreement. And remember, these contracts are negotiated only last every 3 years. They only last 3 years. Make an agreement right now to, number one, recognize that residuals are not what they used to be. So pay the actors more. Recognize that the actors aren't getting the same money that they used to because the residuals are gone and all that kind of stuff. So pay them more right now and then agree in 3 years, we'll come back to this issue, and maybe by then we'll have a better grasp about how residuals or a form of residuals can work in a new format, in a new model and paradigm of streaming. I just don't see how they're going to get around that.
I think one possible future is we're not going to be able to escape commercials on streaming anymore. And if you want commercial-less,
I don't know that you're wrong.
If you want commercial-less content, you have to buy it digitally or physically.
Yeah.
But the days of us getting away with just streaming, no commercials, I think will be gone. That's just the way I see it.
All right, what's next?
Garden Variety Vagabond. Imagine how much therapists get paid when you think about this. Actors get paid based on their art pleasing you. They are often also waiters to make, to make ends meet and only get tips if they please you. Their psyche gets tuned to always pleasing people.
I'll tell you what. When I first moved to LA, I had one friend from Canada who had already moved here to pursue a career as an actress. And she had been here already for about a year, I think. And through her, she lived in a big house with 11 other girls, all of them also actresses. So through her, I made a lot of my first group of friends in LA, all actors and actresses. And then when I started doing casting calls and hiring, I still remember the first time I did a casting call for AMC. And I put out a casting call because I was looking for some on-camera talent. And I was hoping to get 20 or 30 good resumes. I got 800 applications. 800. And I narrowed it down to about 20 or 30 that I would actually interview. And Ray, you know how much I hate the interview process. I would always make Ray come along and whatever, but I hate the interview process. But these people would come in and I realize out of these 800 applicants, maybe one is going to get the job. And I would talk to some of these actresses that I knew as friends and that would come in and audition and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, I've got 4 other auditions today. I got 4 other reads today. And I do that like every day. I'll have 15, 20, 25, 30 reads, auditions, whatever a week. And maybe once every 3 or 4 months I get a role. And I'm like, oh my God, you got to face like rejection that many times? I have only had one job in my life that I applied for that I didn't get. And it devastated me. I was completely devastated. The amount of testicular fortitude you got to have to be an actor.
Yeah.
The amount of mental toughness you got to have to be an actor, to go through that grind and live in that system. And I'm not talking about the famous A-listers. I'm talking about working day actors, right? That to me is the next level of mental toughness, to be honest with you. It's crazy. I could never do it.
You know the last time I interviewed?
With me?
Yep.
Really?
Because the last time I've been in an interview, almost a decade ago, because every job that's followed, so not including when we've had other iterations of working together.
Right.
Every other job, even the Kardashians thing, that was like I was brought in by someone that just liked working with me. So I've never sat into our interview since like a decade.
Oh, that's right. Because the one you had was through Soul.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
That one with Fine Brothers, and that was through Soul. So I've never, it's been a long time.
That's
since I've had
crazy.
an
Yeah, it's been a long ass time. What was my last job interview? My last job interview, was at the law firm. But I got that. Yeah, it's been, God, I want to say 15 years, 16.
So it's not anything
16 or 17 years since I've had a job interview. Listen, I just can't even imagine the idea of going out for a job and not getting it.
Yeah. And job interviews.
It was devastating to me.
And when people are like, oh, well, you could do a job interview, the likelihood of you getting a job with a job interview are vastly greater than an audition. An audition, you're standing in front of people just judging you on every facet of who you are.
Yeah, we do that to Ray every day.
Oh, yeah, but he likes it.
Ray, stand up on that stool. Turn around. Do a little pirouette. Every day.
What are you talking about, man?
That's what he says every day to us.
All right, what's next?
Anonymous has a little story for us. How much do I love even the original Mission Impossible TV show? My best friend and I in junior high made a self-destructing tape for a girl I liked, trained to do stunts to infiltrate her backyard and leave the waterproof tape in her swimming pool.
That's called stalking.
Yeah, well, he gets to it. Biking 10 miles each way, singing out the Mission Impossible theme the whole way. Yes, very stalkery. Never heard back if she got it or her thoughts. Probably not too positive. Yep, a total nerd. I'm just getting like vibes of, what was that TV show? Freaks and Geeks.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that Judd Apatow.
Yeah.
You know what? I will never fault a man for modeling aspects of his life after his favorite movies.
Yeah,
you're always good in my books.
Just don't be Oppenheimer.
Just don't be Oppenheimer. I created this little bomb in my backyard. And that was totally great. All right, what's next?
Or sex court.
Jesse the Savage writes, hey crew, did you see the Fast X, or that Fast X is not in theaters anymore? With a total of 704 million, I would presume it didn't break even. See you all at Fast X Part 2, not me. And guys, bring on the filthy.
You know what? At 700 million, let me do the math here. So it was a $350 million production budget. It was I believe it was a $140 million marketing campaign. So it needed to make, it might have got close. It needed to make 735 million to break even.
Yeah.
So it didn't break even, but it didn't get too far off, right? It didn't get too far off. So the problem though isn't that it didn't make 735 million. The problem was that it was a terrible movie. Like that was the problem. And the next one I don't think is going to make as much. Just like Fast 9 was a terrible movie, and so this one didn't make as much. So
79.3%.
By the way, what was the box office final for Fast and Furious 9? I think it made over 700 million.
Yeah, it did.
I could be wrong about that, but I think it did. What do we got there?
It is 726 million.
So Fast 9 made more money than Fast 10 did. And Fast 9 was still under some of the impact of the pandemic a little bit. It was still like in the waning days of the pandemic, and it made more money than Fast 10. That's how bad Fast 9 was, man. It was just awful. And I say this as a fan of the Fast and Furious franchise, but 9 and 10 were just awful. All right, what's next?
It'd help if I pull up the thing. Jesse the Savage, hey John and crew, have you guys seen the new trailer from Migration? It's by the studio Illumination. It's about this family of ducks going on a trip for the first time and seeing the world for the first time.
They showed us a big, long presentation for it at CinemaCon. Kumail Nanjiani, I think, is one of the. I think he's the voice of the dad. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't think it looked very good. I don't think it looked great. Now, don't get me wrong. I didn't look at it and guffaw at it and think this looks like it sucks. No, but I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think it looked very good. You saw the presentation I saw, Ray. Were you excited? Did you like what you saw?
Is it a little like March of the Penguins kind of thing?
Cute. I mean,
no, nothing like March of the Penguins.
No, it looks. I didn't see enough.
No, like it's an animated cartoon about talking ducks.
Oh, see,
it's not a documentary.
See, I was more interested because I thought this followed a family of ducks on migration.
Where Richard Attenborough doing the voices. No,
Just think of the bird, the one bird's short. Those short ones about the pigeons.
The Good Feathers.
Yeah. Just think
from Animaniacs.
Yeah, it's something like that.
No,
I mean, like,
not really.
It reminds me because it's just birds, but it's different.
You're saying I amuse you? I'm some sort of clown? Oh, God. I love the Animaniacs. All right, what's next?
All right, Spanky writes, I really have an appreciation for how you answer mailbag questions in the most unbiased way possible. You never let your political ideas bleed through. That's probably a lot more difficult than most realize.
I mean, look, I have a basic philosophy that is this.
My philosophy is this.
I'm right.
Freaking right, bro.
Listen, we're all movie fans, right? And that's the thing, that we're all movie fans. So you'll never hear me talk about, national debt reduction. You'll never hear me talk about, whatever. What is important to me, because there are some people who think that just being a piece of shit is a political point of view. It's not. There are some issues to me that are human issues, and then some issues that are political issues. I don't like to get into politics or political issues, but somebody mistreating another person or thinking less of another person because they're not the same way you are, they're not born in the same place or have the same sexual orientation or come from the same socioeconomical background or have the same ethnicity of you, and you thinking lesser than of other people or whatever because of that, well, then that is an issue for me, because that's not a political issue. That's a human issue. And you can be a Democratic piece of shit and you can be a Republican piece of shit. But I mean, yeah, for the most part, I just like talking about movies. And I think, we all like talking about movies. So that's a good thing for us to do.
But we all agree we hate the Dutch.
But we hate the Dutch. Yeah, again, if you guys know that movie reference, good on you.
Movie reference. I wasn't being serious.
All right, what's next?
All right. Spanky writes, I want to see Ryan Gosling as Bishop in the rebooted X-Men MCU films. He's a great actor, and I think he would be excellent in the role. Do you think Gosling could pull off Bishop in the MCU? I didn't really see him like that.
And I'm not even talking about, because, traditionally in the comic, Bishop is African-American. He's a black character.
But just burly.
I don't see Ryan Gosling nearly as that type.
Yeah.
I mean, listen,
could see him
the
as a
most
Havoc.
important thing at the end of the day is the actor a great actor.
Mm-hmm.
Booster Gold, baby.
What's that?
Booster Gold.
I mean, he make a great Booster Gold.
Yeah.
But the more broody, the hulking kind of, I don't see it. And Bishop is a movie I've wanted for a long time. And I don't care if he's played by a white actor, black actor, whatever. I don't care. But I don't see that as a fit. But he's a great actor.
Didn't Bishop have his debut in the comics like right after Deadpool or right before Deadpool? I thought their comics were like
I'm not sure when of course, he's a character from the future. He's an X-Men character from the future, came back in time, played a very pivotal role in the Age of Apocalypse storyline. Like, if not maybe arguably the most pivotal role in the Age of Apocalypse storyline. But he's just a great, fun character that they've tried to bring to the screen a number of times. Like, they even did a version of the Bishop character in, what was that one on Fox? It was about the family, and it was a part of an X-Men universe.
Yeah, I forgot. It started with it. Was it started with an H? I think.
I can't. Guys in the live chat, do you guys remember what the name of that? The Gifted. Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Renee Gordon was the first one to put it. I like The Gifted.
Yeah, I didn't know The Gifted was tied to that.
The Gifted was like in this world where they talk about the X-Men, like the X-Men, but they're missing. The X-Men disappeared. They're gone, right? But they try to do a character who kind of like lived in the sewers and like had his own community of people down there, and was a Bishop type character. I don't think they've ever done Bishop right on the screen, but all right, what's next?
All right. We've got Murray Riker, who writes, I like Joyride, wanted to love it, but the majority of the comedy didn't work for me. When the jokes weren't dirty, they were too safe. And this is someone who likes Will Ferrell, Seth Rogen, Steve Carell movies. I still love the character in Joyride.
I mean, listen, comedy is the most subjective thing in the entire subjective medium of movies and art. Comedy is probably the most subjective thing. So that's why whenever I told people that I think this is the funniest movie in the last 10 years, I would always follow that up by saying, now listen, your mileage may vary because comedy is a very subjective thing. But I'm glad you enjoyed it. I still think it's the funniest movie I've seen in 10 years. I really, really do. So, but that's just me. But I'm glad you liked it. All right, what's next?
Okay, Anonymous writes, hey, John, I think calling Mission Impossible 7 as part 1 in the title was a big mistake for marketing. People don't like to watch half movies, even if it's good. I'm afraid this had some effect on their box office numbers.
I got to tell you, I don't know a single person. I haven't had a single person write to me. I haven't had a single person that I know personally say to me that I didn't go see Mission Impossible because it's called part 1.
Yeah. If it sucked, they might say, I'm not going to see part 2.
Yeah, I mean, yes, that's true. I'm just saying, I literally, with the hundreds and sometimes thousands of messages I get every day, I have not had one say to me, I didn't go see it because, I mean, I've had some people say they didn't see it because they're not a fan of the franchise. I've had people say it because I've never watched any of the other ones. I've had people write and say, I'm not really a big fan of Tom Cruise. I've had a lot of people writing for a lot of different reasons. I'm just telling you my experience. I haven't had one person say to me, you know, it's called part 1, so I think I'll skip it and just wait till part 2 comes out and then I'll watch them back. Like, I haven't had anybody tell me that. I'm sure there are people like that out there, and that's fine. I'm just saying, from my limited experience, I haven't heard anybody say that myself personally.
I don't like when titles have part 1, just in general. I just don't like it. I mean, I'm glad Spider-Verse changed their title.
So did I. Like, I'm really, but you know what? I also don't like sequels having name of original movie, subtitle. I prefer Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3. I think that should be the naming convention for all these movies. Or what was the name of John Wick 3? It wasn't just called John Wick Parabellum. I think it was John Wick 3 Parabellum, right? I think it should have been called Mission Impossible 7 Dead Reckoning.
Yeah.
Then Mission Impossible 8 Dead Reckoning Part 2, if you want. That's fine.
Well, do they do that with
7B.
MI7?
7B.
Don't they do that with like MI4, MI5, MI6, MI7? No.
Well, I mean,
it's not in the
Mission
title, though?
Impossible Fallout. There was
Yeah.
Mission Impossible. So yeah, I prefer just nice, straightforward, simple naming conventions.
in the trades, they refer to them as Mission Impossible 7 or
Yeah.
MI7, but title-wise, official title-wise, they don't use numbers after 3.
MI5, the one on the plane. MI6, the one where he Halo jumps. MI7, the motorcycle
The
one.
motorcycle, yeah. And we'll just call it Mission Impossible, the motorcycle one.
Yeah.
All right, what's
All
next?
right, Murray writes, this is the last of the tips. And this is someone who has also seen The Blackening and No Hard Feelings, and those movies gave me more laughs. I don't mind filthy humor, but I like more of a blend, even though the airport wardrobe malfunction scene was hilarious in Joe Raid.
Listen, it's a subjective thing. I quite enjoyed The Blackening. I quite enjoyed No Hard Feelings, but for me, and I'm only speaking from my own experience, Joyride blew the shit out of both of those. Like I had a quadruple laugh per minute ratio for me at Joyride than I did for either of those movies. And I enjoyed those movies. I quite enjoyed those movies, but yeah, that's just me.
I really like The Blackening. The more
I enjoyed it too.
Yeah, that was a good time right there.
All right, guys, listen, we got more questions to get to here, but before we do, we're going to take a quick moment and thank a couple of the sponsors of today's episode, our friends at Mint Mobile and Birddogs. We want to thank a sponsor of this video, Mint Mobile. From the gas pump to the grocery store, your utility bills and favorite streaming services, inflation is everywhere. Seriously, make it stop. Thankfully, there's one company out there that's giving you a much-needed break. It's Mint Mobile. As the first company to sell premium wireless service online only, Mint Mobile lets you order from home and save a ton with phone plans starting at just $15 a month. You guys know that ever since I switched to Mint Mobile, I've been saving almost 70% a month over my old phone plan. For people looking for extra savings this year, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. By going online only and eliminating the traditional cost of retail, Mint Mobile passes the significant savings on to you. All of their plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with all your existing contacts. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/campea.
Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea.
We want to take a second and thank the sponsor of this video, Birddogs. You know, as a guy, there's only two things that are important to me when it comes to fashion: looking good, and even more importantly, being comfortable. And that's where our sponsors, Birddogs, come to the rescue. Offering everything from pants like stretch khakis, joggers, and sweatpants, to shorts like gym shorts and swimsuits, and even great looking and comfortable polo shirts. Birddogs, like their stretch khaki shorts, are designed to fit slimmer through the thighs and legs, giving you a truly sculpted look. Birddog shorts fit way better than regular shorts that are made of a stiff, restricting cotton. You see, Birddogs fixed this issue by inventing cloud knit fabric that looks just like khaki, but stretches so you get a way slimmer fit without having to sacrifice movement. And that's just one of the reasons that by wearing Birddogs, you're gonna look good and, more importantly, feel good. So guys, go to birddogs.com/Campea for a free Yeti-style tumbler with your order. That's birddogs.com/Campea for a free Yeti-style tumbler. Use code Campea. You won't want to take your Birddogs off. We promise you. And thank you to our friends at Mint Mobile and Birddogs for sponsoring this episode. All right, guys, let's get back to it here. What do we got up next here?
Okay, Ant Banks writes, saw your Instagram post at the Usher concert. That was your unofficial invite to the barbecue. Lil Boozy's Wipe Me Down will get a room hyped up. That was the song that was playing.
Do you still have it loaded in OBS?
Shoot, I don't.
Okay, I would bring it up on thing here to show you. Actually, wait a minute. Let me see if I don't bring it up here yet, but let me see if I can
he's watching Sex Court.
let me see if I can bring it up for you guys to see. This week on Sex Court.
Reviewing Sex
Let me get this. Okay, so go ahead, bring up my screen here.
All right, let me sync it. Oh, it's not syncing.
Oh, it's not Sex
Oh, it's not syncing? Okay, never mind.
Oh, well. I'll try to bring it up in a little bit.
Okay, yeah, so Ann and I, we went to an Usher concert when we were in Vegas this weekend. And that was the whole reason we went to Vegas, was to check out Usher. And give it another shot to see if is it coming now?
Let me see. See if it'll sync this time.
Yes, no?
Well, it brings up
yes.
Okay.
Here we go.
So here it is. So this is this was the most hype audience. This is before the concert even started. This was like 20 minutes before. Look at everybody in the jam-packed place was up on their feet, dancing.
Looks like Universal Amphitheater.
Having a great time. It was the Park MGM.
Yeah.
It's an incredible. Yeah, that was Ann standing there. It was just it was the single most hyped up audience crowds I had ever been in before a concert even started. It was absolutely nuts. And listen, I'm not like the biggest Usher fan in the world, but that man puts on a show. He puts on a really good show. All right, what's next?
Let's see. We've got Suthius who writes, I've never been huge on Rebecca Romaine's acting and just thought she's fine, but man, she's great as Una, number one, which I assume is a play on words because Una can also mean one in Spanish.
You know what? I have not started watching Star Trek Brave New World or Strange New Worlds season 2. I haven't started season 2 yet. I loved season 1.
Is she in it?
Yeah. And you're right. And you know what? I'm other than as Mystique, I agree with you. I've always liked her, but I've never thought she was the strongest actress. But she's really good in this show.
Can we go back to that last comment? There's one rule in life: you never not go to a barbecue if you're invited.
That's true. Yeah. True that. Even in Canada.
Always go to the barbecue.
Always. If you're invited for barbecue, you show up. Yeah. All right. What's next?
All right. Real Life Entertainment. Hey, crew, is same on the inside a reference to Employee of the Month?
No. And we will never tell you guys what we're all the same.
Yeah, but don't worry. We all the same. Listen,
you will never hear us on air explain what that little saying of ours means.
Y'all don't need to know what it means. You just need to understand we all the same.
Yep. Never. You know what? I'll tell you this. On my final broadcast, on my final show of my final broadcast, I will tell you what that means. Yeah. But until that day, we will never tell you what that means. All right, what's next?
What's next? Dylan Fernando. Okay. If theaters get 33% of box office, shouldn't the break-even formula be expense times 1.33 instead of expense 1.5. Multiplying 1.5 adds 50%, not 33.
No.
God, man.
Okay. Look. Bring up my screen here. if
You can
can.
reduce 33 from the box office.
Right.
But yeah.
So here's the thing. It's not. You don't use the same number. Put it up on the classroom thing. You don't use the same number going both ways, right? Because, for example, let's say let's take a base number of 100, right? 50% of 100. If you were to, let's say you're going to minus 50% from 100. All right. 50%. What does that equal? Well, that equals 50, right? Well, you don't go, well, then if you have 50 and add 50%, that'll equal 100. No. 50 plus 50% does not equal 100. It equals 75. 33% of one number is not the equivalent of another number. Okay. So if your break-even point of a movie, let's say this. Let's say your movie made 150 million at the box office, right? What is 1/3 of 150 million?
50.
Yes. So you minus 50 million and you'll come up with 100 million, right?
Okay.
So if you're a movie, you need to make 100 million plus the amount to get you to that box office total that equals 100 million. So at 100 million, you need to not add 33%, you need to add 50%. Or in this case, multiply it by 1.5. So that will get you to that original starting number of 150. So yeah, so the percentage doesn't go the same way up and down because the totals become different. 33% of 100 is different than 33% of 60. So that's why the math works out that way. Anyway, all right, what's next?
Yeah, I'll remember that. All right, Jamie Sundays writes, Oppenheimer 70mm IMAX tickets are sold out at City Walk AMC until mid-August. I was lucky enough to get Thursday tickets. Feels like the golden ticket.
Really? Sold out till... I don't believe that.
I did the 70mm thing with
I believe a few days are sold out. I don't believe, maybe you looked on Saturday evenings but there's no way that it's sold out until mid-August. There's no way that every screening of it is sold out till mid-August.
Unless they're not playing it on weeknights. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if it's playing one day a week in there, then maybe I can buy that. Otherwise, I don't think you were looking hard enough.
I did the 70mm thing with Dunkirk. But I don't feel like I need to do it for this.
Might feel differently after you watch it.
I know.
Right,
it's just you got a lot of the film pop and stuff like that I forgot about from back in the day because it was film. It wasn't digital 70mm. So maybe if it's digital 70mm, I'll go do it.
All right, what do we got next?
Wyatt Rath writes, part 1. Hey again, crew. I'm 19 and saw Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning opening night. Loved it. Top Gun Maverick is probably my favorite action movie ever, but I have no desire to see Indy 5. Do you think it is a marketing issue with younger audience or something else? I mean, you tell us. You didn't want to see it.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a couple of things working against it. Number one, it's not a great movie. I liked it, but I mean, it had some glare. So that's one issue. But the couple of other issues were this. It's a 30-plus-year-old franchise. Like, what was the release? Look up the release date of the original Raiders of the Lost Ark. But I'm just gonna. If
only Mance was here, he'd tell.
Yeah,
right
Scott Mance could tell us easily. But I'm gonna pull a number out of my ass.
I've seen it 60 times.
I have a feeling it's 82,
81.
Oh,
81. So
okay.
it's like 40-year-old. It's a 42-year-old franchise, right?
June 12th.
So there's that. Now, when was
That's enough.
the Last Crusade?
All right.
Right? Because really, that was the
that
last
88?
good Indiana
89.
Jones.
I keep missing these by a year.
89? So that's 34 years ago. The last good Indiana Jones movie was 30. What did we say it was 34 years ago?
Yeah. So 81 and then 89.
It's tough to come back from that. Marketing also wasn't great. And I think there was an issue because I heard, how I said earlier that I didn't hear from one person that said I didn't see Mission Impossible because part 1 was in the title. I did hear from people saying, I don't know if I'm interested in going to see Indiana Jones because I don't know if I can see an 80-year-old Indiana Jones, cave diving and, fighting Nazis and stuff like that. Okay. I mean, I neither agree nor disagree. I'm just saying I did have people telling me that. So I think it was a conglomeration of a lot of different factors.
I think the movie's reach only went to the people who are fans, mainly fans of the franchise before. The key with these things is pulling in the younger audience that hasn't seen it, like that the extra. That I call that extra from like nostalgic movies like these. You got to get those newer viewers in there to actually make money, because everyone who's been fans of it is gonna go watch it. I mean, our whole theater was filled with people. Well, whoever surrounded me knew exactly every person in the movie except me.
Now, because honestly, I wonder, like, how much of an impact on the box office would Top Gun Maverick have had if Tom Cruise was like 91? I mean, he still probably would have looked like he was 60.
Like 60.
But I mean, if he was, would people? But the thing is, Tom Cruise still looked like he did in the original one 30 years earlier. So I wonder if that would have impacted it too.
I think too, there was so much spectacle about the way it was shot, and it was innovative, and it's jet fighters. It's exciting.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's what it was.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that was in there too.
I watched it for the aircraft, because we haven't seen something like that for a while.
Thrilling movie.
And then it happened to be a good movie.
All right, what's next?
Based off A New Hope. Wyatt Rath writes, "Hey John, last week your Avengers 4 predictions video popped up in my feed, so I put it on. You said Drax was the most disappointing character in the MCU. Do you still think that? Thanks, bring on the filthy. Avengers 4 predictions.
He's definitely one of the most disappointing characters in the MCU.
He's never reached comic potential.
Well, because here's the thing.
He's the destroyer who doesn't really destroy.
Yeah, he's the destroyer who doesn't destroy. And I'm not even talking about he didn't meet my expectations from the Drax in the comic books. No, that's not what I'm talking about. When we meet Drax the Destroyer in the MCU, in Guardians of the Galaxy Part 1, he is a fearsome, to be feared. He's the Destroyer, man. He's the Destroyer. And yeah, he had a comic side. He was absolutely had a big comic side to him, 100%. But after that, and I love the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, but one of the problems that I had with it was they took that Drax from the first one, and then like in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Drax the Destroyer doesn't have a single fight.
He destroys those comedic lines.
He destroys the comedy.
Yeah, he's the comic relief.
But he did not have a single fight. Drax the Destroyer didn't have a single fight. Now, as much as I complain about that, I loved him in the Christmas special.
Mm-hmm.
The Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special to me is worth all the money in the world. I love that thing. But it became a big disappointment for me that after the first Guardians of the Galaxy, it's kind of like my same disappointment with what they did with Hulk. You know, the Hulk we got in the first Avengers movie became family picnic Hawaiian shirt Hulk by the end of She-Hulk, right? And I wish they had given Drax all the comedy while still maintaining him being the Destroyer.
Yeah.
Rather than kind of dead weight.
That's where the discrepancy comes in. Like they give these characters personality, but then when it comes to powers, like they have to fit like the MCU scale. I think because if he was really like the comics, they wouldn't have had a problem with anything.
Well, I mean, yeah, but you don't want to overpower, because like in the comics, the guy was genetically made to fight and kill Thanos, right? So, so I didn't need them to do that. I didn't need them to do what they did with him in the comics. I just wanted them to be consistent with the way they started him in the first Guardians of the Galaxy.
I do wish him and Thanos had like a little matchup, a little square.
Couldn't have though.
Yeah, he would have
because
killed.
Ronan the Accuser kicked his ass, right? So you can't have him fight Thanos. All right, what's next?
Ryan Gerger writes, "Hi, John and crew. The best Western is coming back since 2015. It's Justified, baby. Cannot wait to see it."
I've never watched Justified, which is weird because it looks like the kind of show I would really like. And what's the name of the lead guy?
I can't
remember. From The Boys, right?
No.
Oh, that's not him?
I gotta look it up.
No.
If you guys know in the
he's
chat.
in Deadwood. He's the lead guy, Deadwood.
Oh, Timothy Oliphant.
Timothy Oliphant,
sorry.
The bad guy from the bad Die Hard movie. Yeah, Timothy Oliphant. I really like Timothy Oliphant a lot, but I've never watched Justified. And
Dude,
some point I probably should.
Speaking of Timothy Oliphant, and then that was another reason I was like, I really loved his character in not Mandalorian, in Boba Fett.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And it's like, dude, come on, that was like the best part of it. And then you do that. Whatever.
All right, what's next?
Vivebsta. Hi, John. Love the show. Have you seen or watched all the top 10 of this week's box office? Still want to watch Joyride. Excited for Barbenheimer.
No, I mean, I never watch every movie that comes out every month. Just like I was just talking about, I really like Timothy Olyphant. I've never watched Justified. So no, I have not, but I am I am really excited about Barbie, especially after the presentation they showed. Like, I didn't care about Barbie until CinemaCon. And then when they showed us the presentation at CinemaCon, I begrudgingly really got won over, and now I'm actually pretty excited about seeing it.
It's currently holding 93% with 57 reviews on Rotten Tomatoes.
Barbie? Oh, the Rotten Tomato. We'll have to talk about that tomorrow. I didn't know the full reviews came out.
Yeah.
They just must have lifted the deadline today.
93%.
The embargo on that. All right,
because there's not
good
many.
to hear.
So,
all right, what's next?
King Daddy Goat writes, "What's your favorite villain turned hero story?" Villain turned hero.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Typically, that's like in television arcs because you have a longer arc.
Right, but honestly, and this might sound like a cop-out, but my answer is my all-time favorite character in all of fiction. Boromir from Lord of the Rings. He's my all-time favorite. His redemption arc, which all happens very quick. You know, he turns on Frodo pretty quickly, and then he instantly turns around to redeem himself, defending Merry and Pippin. And he is actually my favorite character in all thing. Like, redemption stories are wonderful to me, and he's my favorite character of all time.
Mine is the T-Rex in Jurassic Park.
Oh, that's right, because he becomes a hero. I forgot about that. All right, what's next?
Abraham writes, "Hey crew, Barbie." Oh, we just talked about this. Barbie reviews come out today at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Any predictions? I'm guessing 90% of Rotten Tomatoes was 93.
Well, it's at 93 right now.
100.
We'll see where it's at once. I'm gonna guess 90 is where it ends up by tomorrow. I think it'll come down a little bit, but still, that's fast. Listen, the first reactions came out and they were fantastic, but you always got to hold your breath a little bit, because people generally, when you're giving your first just quick short reaction, you tend to focus on the positive. And then when your full review comes out, you get more into the negative. So you never know but hearing that it's in the 90s, that's really exciting.
I mean, the big guys have already posted their reviews.
What's Oppenheimer at?
Nothing yet.
Oppenheimer hasn't had they've had public screenings.
Yeah, but I don't think they have their reviews.
Wow.
Out, but two of the big ones gave it rotten scores on.
Who did?
Well, not big ones, but big publications: Time Magazine and New York Post.
They don't know nothing.
Yeah, but who liked it?
Like literally everyone
Hollywood
else.
Reporter, Variety, Entertainment Weekly, Empire, Los Angeles Times.
And it's got 93%.
93%. USA Today, AV Club,
All right.
Yeah.
What's next?
Angie Carr writes, "Do you think Gunn is keeping Sasha Kaye on cast?"
I mean, if you watch The Flash, I don't see how you do. I really liked her in the movie, by the way. I love the Flash movie. I don't give a fuck what anybody else says. I love the Flash movie. I thought it was great. I mean, Ezra Miller can never be allowed to be Flash again. But that aside, judging the movie on its own merits, I thought the movie was great. And I thought Sasha Kaye was wonderful in it. That being said, I said this, I think I came up in our spoiler discussion. If you know the ending of the movie, I don't really see how you go forward with her. And that was before we found out how much of a box office dumpster fire the movie was going to be. So I don't see how you I don't see how you move forward with her. I didn't see how you move forward with her from a narrative point of view, and then from a box office point of view, I just don't know how you carry that on either. All right, but you never know. I'm not saying he won't. I'm just saying my guess is that he won't. All right, what's next?
Joseph Michael writes, "Is it possible that Disney could rebound within 2 to 3 years so they don't get sold off? What is the likelihood of Bob Iger being canned by the end of the year? None. Could this
Zero.
strike comments on CNBC be one reason? Could his strike comments? No.
No,
They just extended them.
Yeah, they just extended him. Listen, I keep telling you this. Whenever a new regime takes over something, I always tell you guys, it's going to take years for you to feel the effects of the new regime. That's why when Bob Chapek came in, I stayed very optimistic and positive about Bob Chapek until he started doing some really, really stupid things. But I have always said when Bob Chapek first came in, you're not going to feel the effect of Bob Chapek's leadership for a year, maybe 2 years, right? It's going to take a while. And feel the effects we did. And they were bad. And I said when Bob Iger came back in, guys, don't expect things to be turned around like that. A lot of damage has been done. And it's going to take a while to try to right that ship. But listen, winning cures everything. Whether Bob Iger turned Disney into the biggest media giant success story in the history of Hollywood. But it's a different thing building up to that. That's one thing. That's a hard job. But it's a different job to dig yourself out of a hole that Bob Chapek put them in. So whether or not Bob Iger is going to be able to do that, I honestly don't know. If anybody can, it's probably him. But we'll have to wait and see. All right, what's next?
All right. Let's see. John Cross says every 70mm IMAX for Oppenheimer is sold out, including 2 a.m. showing. I'm guessing in your area.
And I'm guessing for your weekend. Yeah. Like that, I totally believe. I don't believe until August.
Tuesday
but
at 2
I do
a.m.
believe that opening weekend, totally buy that the IMAX screens will be totally sold out. Completely believe that. All right, what's next?
Luke1234, which had more buzz, Star Wars Episode 1 or 7?
Episode 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Episode 1, like you got to remember an entire generation thought there was never going to be another Star Wars movie. And so while there was a lot of hype and a lot of excitement about The Force Awakens coming out, the first new entry of Star Wars in a while. Yeah. But when The Phantom Menace came out, it was just on a different level. It was just on a completely different level. So absolutely 1,000% no doubt there was more hype when that was coming out. All right, what's next?
Joseph Michael writes, let's all hope that this dual strike results in the live action Moana remake getting shelved.
I don't see why anybody would say that. Why? Why do you not want a movie to get made? If you don't like it, don't go watch it. Like, see, that's the thing. I've never understood the mentality that I hope that movie doesn't get made. Why? If it's not for you, it's not for me. But there are other people who want to see it.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I agree. I thought it was a questionable decision. I do. I think it was a questionable decision to greenlight a live action Moana. But you know what? It could turn out great. There are people I know who are excited about it. And I've never understood people, and I know this isn't you. I know you're not saying this, but I also don't understand those people who hope a movie is bad.
I know.
I'll never understand that. Why would one hope a movie is bad? Don't you want every movie to be great? Don't you want every movie to be good? Obviously they won't be, but why as a fan would you want a movie to be bad? I've just never understood that mentality. All right, what's next?
All right. Final two here. Mr. GMT, hi, John, and love your work. Do you think maybe the decline in box office revenue might have something to do with all the increases in interest, food costs, as I'm finding it hard myself?
Again, one of the things, the reason I don't personally believe that is because, again, I remember when we talked about earlier, when the big housing crisis happened and the stock market crashed and all that kind of stuff. And yet the movies kept right on rolling, right? It is going to the movies is still probably the cheapest, most inexpensive thing you can do to get out of the house. Other than going on a nature walk, which you should be doing more of that too. But no, I don't. And again, I don't think the problem is as pronounced as some people think it is. I really don't. You had some movies like Indiana Jones 5, which didn't do great. Flash, which is just continuing the trajectory that the DC films have been on since 2018. Not a single DC film has made over $400 million since 2018. It's been 5 years. Things like that. I don't think it's a general economy thing, because I remember a time when the economy was much, 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 much worse, and yet people were still going to the movies. So listen, I could be right. I could be wrong. I'm just saying my guess is I don't think that has a lot to do with it right now. All right, what's next?
All right. Gabriel writes, happy you're enjoying Suits. Discovered it this year and binged in a month. Luis and Harvey are the best.
Lewis.
Yeah,
Lewis and Harvey. I'll tell you what, I had a lot of people for years telling me I should be watching Suits. And I just started watching it, and I'm already midway through season 4. This show is incredible. I love this show. I mean, first of all, it's like the ultimate movie fan show because these characters are every episode it's a different movie or a couple of movies. They're constantly speaking to each other in movie quotes, which I really, really like a lot. And some of them are really, really easy ones, but some of them are pretty deep cuts at the same time. You know, it's funny too, because you got these two characters, Mike and this blonde girl lawyer, who they started quoting The Wire to each other, going, shit, from The Wire. And the guy who plays Meghan Markle's dad on the show is from The Wire. So it's like they do some fourth wall breaking in it too, which I totally, listen, honestly, guys, if you've not watched Suits, I am really upset at myself that I have not discovered it earlier. It's a wonderful, wonderful show, and I'm really enjoying it so far. And thank you to all you guys who over the years told me I should be watching it. I finally got around to it.
Do they ever say we all the same?
No, I can pretty safely and confidently say they've never said we're all the same with nope, never said that. And all right, guys, that'll do it for today's installment of Open Mic. Thank you so much for being here and making the show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in those tip questions and super chats. Number one, because you gave us fun, interesting things to talk about. But also number two, you supported our channel as you did it. And all of us involved with the channel here, thank you guys so very much for your support. Don't forget to come on back and join us again tomorrow. Tomorrow's Wednesday. Rob's going to be on the show with us tomorrow. So for Ray Aura, Sex Court, Jonathan Voico,
We all the same.
my name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.